Welcome to another live episode of Halftime Adjustments. It's your host, Eddie Arnett, my man G Witt, and Mr. J. Lou. What's going on, gentlemen?
Tighten up, baby.
Tighten up. 2026 off season for the two-tone blue. Shout out to G Witt's wife over there. Give us
No, that was Jasmine, man.
Oh, that was Jasmine. Okay. I just heard a voice, man. You know, tighten up, man. But here we are, fellas, man. Free agency has pretty much almost completed, if you will. We've had the signings official. There's still some things that could be done. We don't know yet. But your first take, J. Lou, on the 2026 free agent class for the Tennessee Titans.
So first take, like what they're doing. They're spending money the right way, I would say, and addressing need. If you go back to the show, I think right when we ended the season, or maybe the one right after that, when I said I thought that we would see them attack defense in free agency. Now, again, when you start looking at the numbers, it's a even split almost. But when you look at the firepower and starters that's coming in right now, is more on that defensive side of the ball. And I know a lot of talk's been made about, Salah or Dayball getting folks that they got connection with. The Jets and the Giants were terrible as a whole unit. They still had decent players sprinkled out. And if you think about it, that Jets team that Salah was the head coach of for over 2.5 years, they had phenomenal defenses.
Oh, yeah.
They struggled on the offense side of the ball.
Right.
So, it's good. We talked about this with some folks at the thing the other night. It's good to see them bringing defensive help in that knows his system, that can be like a player coach on the field to help get the ones that's not familiar with it up to speed. So definitely look forward to seeing what they do on this. We're probably in the second/third tier of free agency now. So definitely see what they do. I still think that you see, I wouldn't be shocked if you see another veteran edge added on. Linebacker, I'm still thinking that you see a veteran linebacker added in. And then from the offensive side of the ball, I still think you see a couple more linemen, if not a wide receiver, but we'll talk about that later. But overall, I like the trajectory of where they're going, spending their money the right way and not really spending it in one or two big players. And I'll go into the contract later. I don't know actually how it's been beneficial seeing them work this time around with all the money as opposed to the last regime.
Yeah. G, what's your thoughts, man, on this 2026 class?
I concur with what J. Lou was saying. I thought they did a good job, especially, like you said, addressing the defensive side of the ball. I just thought they hit the right players. And like you said, J. Lou, the key word is they did not overspend.
Yeah.
On players. I thought that was key. They got some immediate help on the defensive side, especially on the D line. Which is going to make it a really interesting come training camp and come the regular season. I like what they did pretty much on offense. I will say I hope they go out and try to find another center. I know we have Slater there who could probably play center, and they brought in another one from the Giants, but you definitely got to lock that position down for that offensive line. I think that was the biggest issue. That interior held up fairly well, but I don't know if Zyla's coming back or whatever the case may be. So we definitely need some help there and still need some help at wideout. But overall, I think they did a good job as far as the free agent signings and everything is concerned.
Yeah, let me get some of these comments, man. Thank y'all for coming back. Thank y'all for supporting us tonight, man. Eddie Gray says, shout out for the updated wallpaper. Yeah, thank to J. Lou for that, man. He got all that for us. He created a new logo, so we had to rebrand as the Titans rebrand, man. We want to stay up to date. Will says, isn't Wendell and Chimmery the same type of wideouts? I'm gonna say no, because Wendell has a better route tree.
Yeah, I'm going to say no too. When you look at some of the stuff that came out about Wendell, he went to the Giants organization last offseason and mentioned that he wanted to expand running routes on his route tree. So I think you'll see a difference. I also think that we haven't seen what Chim really is as a wide receiver just yet, because I think he was kind of a shot. I mean, they drafted him probably to develop as a wide receiver, more for special teams, and he excelled at that. I think, to your point, you see him used a little bit more too in this offense with Dayball.
Yeah, and one thing about DK, man, I thought you got to remember he was pressed in the service this year. They really weren't expecting too much out of him. So I would say if he comes back this year with better concentration with his hands and everything, I think you'll see him expand on his role as well. You know.
Yeah, and if you look at the help that they've added to this team, of course, a few offensive players, some interior linemen on the defense side of the ball. You mentioned Austin Schlottman as center from the Giants, and replaced Tommy Townsend. I know Jay Lee was happy about that because he had preached about Hecker being replaced. One of the most important signings is Morgan Cox, right? You keep that continuity between on special teams as far as the snapper goes, even though you have a new holder in Townsend if he is to hold, as we've seen here in the past. And so now I get the question is, gentlemen, and somebody's already asked it, and Eddie Gray's already said it, Love at 4. Do we go Love or Bain? If you look at what they brought in so far, here's my dream scenario. And I was going to text you guys this, but and I'm going to throw it out there and see what y'all think. But I'll save it for the show. And so what if, because I saw somebody throw out this scenario, I guess it was a couple nights ago. Can we use, and Jay Lou, this is probably more your answer for this because the GM role. Can we or would you use next year's first to trade back into the first round this year and get an edge and Love?
No. And the only reason I say no, and it's hard for me to say no, but the only reason I say no is because the wild cards you still have with your wide receiver room. And when you look at the talent next year, then the wide receiver class next year, the depth is deep there. You'll have a bunch going in the first round. That's the only hesitation I have. Otherwise, I would be all for that.
Yeah. And I thought I was thinking the same thing because of the depth of receiver class in 2027. Just in case whoever they get this year doesn't pan out to be that dog, we know there's several opportunities in the 27 draft class. Somebody asked if we draft Love, would Pollard be gone or is Pollard gone?
I keep Pollard.
I keep him.
I mean, I think they would do right by him because I think he would be kept with the understanding knowing that he's probably going to be back number 2 or 1B rather, because you spend the 4th round pick on Love. That's a guy that can do everything. I think the wild card that would be in that scenario to be gone would honestly be Spears.
Yeah.
Especially given his injury history and he's at the he's like Chig. He's similar. He's in the same situation as Chig was last year, where he's on his last year of his deal. So if you upgrade with Love, who's an upgrade over both of your running backs, I would get rid of Spears, and that way you still got that veteran presence with TP, who's been healthy and giving you 1,000 yards the past two seasons, and he could probably be a good veteran back when Jeremiah does hit that rookie wall that all rookies hit.
And he does run between the tackles well.
Yes.
And pass protection, right? That's something that we see rookies struggle with when they first get into the league as far as running backs go. And so, you would need that veteran presence. But so looking at the offensive additions, let's do it this way. I know we hadn't done enough in the wide receiver room, but Wendell Robinson brings a different dynamic we haven't had since a Derek Mason type slot receiver. And I saw somebody say it in the comment, glad Ridley stays, G-Wit. So, I'm coming to you on this because I got another question for Jay Lewis as far as this goes as well. And so where do we go in the draft for a receiver? Do we hit that in the 3rd? Do we go 2nd? Because I saw a Brazil from Tennessee as possible 2nd round selection. You got the kid out of Georgia State. Do we go Tate? I mean, what do we do at a wide receiver in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, in all honesty, I think with wide receiver, given some of the needs you have, I think you can actually wait to about the 3rd or 4th round to get a good wide receiver. I think there are some good ones out there. Whereas you don't have, I would say, any kind of superstar receiver coming out this year, you do have a lot of quality receivers that can actually maybe be able to turn that way. And they have good hands and good speed and everything and run pretty good routes. So I would just think that you could probably go 3rd or 4th round on a wide receiver. I wouldn't be in a rush to get one with this draft because, like I said, it's got plenty of quality down in the later rounds. I think you'll still find a good one there. I mean, because remember, I mean, last year the draft, our receivers came in what, the fourth round?
Fourth round.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I to me, I don't see anything wrong with that formula because, you know, as you said jokingly, you know, I'm probably the one who's not too excited about Ridley coming back, but you know, we'll you know, the jury's out on him. You know, like I said last year, he had T-Rex arms. You know, he was short arming the ball and everything. So it's going to be a wait and see on that one. But if he pans out the Davo out of him, I think we're in good place with him. So it's going to be interesting to see how all this pans out. But no, I would rather wait till about the third or fourth round to get a wideout.
And so, Jaylee, you know where I'm finna go with this.
Yes.
We're really coming back, the contract language, how that's going to work out for the Titans, and your thoughts on keeping him. And before you go, I'm not I'm good with it because if you look at the wide receiver room right now, you know, you had some second year guys coming back. You had Restrepo, which, you know, we'll see what happens with him. I think he has a bigger role possibly because this offense will probably fit his skill set better than what we had last season. But you have Ridley as a veteran. We can probably agree he's not a number one anymore.
Yeah.
And so your thoughts, man, and that contract as far as Ridley for this team.
So this is the thing, man. It's going to take the beginning of the week. So the reason the announcement came yesterday, and the reason Snead I knew Snead was going to be gone. I think I told y'all he'd be gone before the 15th. And if you look at it, he passed the physical based on how the dead cap number that was left behind. So that let you know that they passed him. They released him with passing the physical. He wasn't like Cush that was released unhealthy. But he had a bonus coming up on the fifth day of the new year, which would be today. Same with Ridley. And then you had Dan Moore that had about $7.5 million of his contract guaranteed because he's on the roster for day 5. So the Ridley one is interesting because all they have released, and even on my apps, my sites I use for tracking contracts and all, it's still his old contract. All they said was he restructured. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there in the universe. There's no guarantee that he still plays in September. And that's why I want to see the contract when it comes down. Because right now you're looking at Ridley and Dan Moore obviously got the highest 2 cap numbers going into the season. Ridley's at 26.4. Dan Moore's at 26.3. And we all knew, any smart person knew that Ridley wasn't going to play on that number coming off the injury and you know where he's staying. So I'm curious to see the final contract numbers because restructuring could be simply moving some of his base salary into a signing bonus where it lowers your cap a little bit, or he could have took a pay cut. Now, I think the restructure opens up the window for you to possibly make his contract enticing for somebody to trade for him if you choose to go that route. Right now, if I'm in the league, I'm not trading for Ridley with coming off his injury with his age on a $26.4 million cap hit. But if that number got down to 13, 12, and I'm somebody that needs a 2 or 3 that's got a top dog or the alpha right now and getting him to help my offense, and I'm a contender, that could possibly be a late round swap. So I'll be curious to see. And the numbers, I literally put it up before we went live tonight. It has not updated. His contract has not updated from a language standpoint. So I'll monitor that one throughout the week. But I mean, when you talk about a cap and look at the Titans, I mean, it's funny, guys. We was a team that was 5-6 years ago. We was in cap purgatory forever. And now today you still have $75 million. Now that $75 million does not include like 8 of the free agents you signed. Like JFM's contract still has not hit the books yet. But if you look at some of the ones that Borgonzi and Brink, this is Brinker's wheelhouse. You know, for those that don't know, the Titans got they got a $24 million bounce back from an insurance policy that was taken out on Snead and Ridley. And not all GMs do this. And they said that this was something that Brinker and the team has done in Green Bay forever. A fun fact, Green Bay had it in Aaron Rodgers' contract. And then when he went to the Jets didn't put it in there. Blew his Achilles out the first game. So This is one of them things that Brinker, we've always said the numbers guy, I think that's his wheelhouse, not really football, but he's done that. So that was good to see that. So that helped boost the cap up. And then if you look at it, a lot of these contracts, and for our fans that's on here, when you look at it, a 4-year, $96 million. Really wait to hear what the guarantee is and see what it is for the first 2 years. Because a lot of these contracts, these front-loaded contracts, and I'm waiting to see John Franklin Myers. A lot of these big-name contracts this year, Borgonzi has specifically front-loaded them on the first 2 years where you're still in that rookie quarterback window with that contract. So that's perfect where if, 3 years down the road, if something needs to change, you can change and you're not putting yourself back in cap purgatory. So but to answer your question about Ridley, because the restructuring is there, and they restructured it to bring down the cap number. Now the curious part would be, did the cap number come down where it's still friendly for him to stay, or did you bring it down low enough to where if you decide to dangle it out there and maybe trade him later on after draft and as we get into June, then somebody might bite. Okay.
Yeah, so here's some more comments from everybody tonight, man. Appreciate y'all. Keep them coming. Keep the questions coming. Could we use Tyjae Spears like a Dexter McCluster or Deebo Samuels? That was mentioned by a couple of media guys here in the area. If there is a love draft and you keep Pollard, does Tyjae move to that specialist that we've seen, those gadget type players that we've seen across the NFL? What do you guys think about that?
I think given the offensive coordinator, I would say yes. If this was last year's team, I'd say no. But I think there's a chance for him to be in that role because, again, you're not asking for a ton of snaps and you're giving yourself an out with his injury history, but also allowing him to utilize his skills in a contract year and be able to help. So that's a role I could see him taking on, especially in this offense.
If we draft Love, I can see Tyjae filling that special teams role, and he's going to have to learn how to play special teams as Chestnut, because I don't think Chestnut will be back this year. You can see him back there on kick return with Chimmery, those type of things. And so we'll see, man. There's a lot of stuff still going on. What about Jauan Jennings? A lot of talk about Jauan Jennings, and I got my thoughts on that. I'm not saying no, but I'm not too big on that because what role is he going to play? He's not a number one.
Nope.
Right? He's a possession guy. He's tough. He makes tough catches, and he knows how to get open. We need somebody that can take the top off the defense, and we have yet to find that. And I'm not saying we're going to find that in free agency, but do we need another? He's almost like a veteran Ellick to me.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I mean,
I'd rather stay cheap in that position and pay him to take Ellick's role.
Yeah, and that's what I thought, because somebody's not gonna get reps. And I might have texted you guys that the other day or so, or Jay Lil might have been texting you. Ellick could be the odd man out, and I would hate to see that in his development, because we saw him hit that wall late in the season last year. He struggled with some drops and things of that nature, and so because he was such a find in that fourth round with him and Chimmery and Gunner as well, I think you want to continue to grow those guys. And they talk about that, right? Growing your homegrown talent. You want to keep them turned over and keep them going. And so it's going to be pretty interesting. Let's see. Get some more questions, man. Let's get some more comments. Dion, man, appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you, man. He said, can we just call Kush back and give him a second chance on the physical?
Man.
Colt Carver, man. Colt, man, thank you for joining us. I think this might be your first time. If not, I apologize, man, but good to see. He says it's easy. They went heavy on defense and free agency. Pair your franchise QB with a franchise back. And Jeremiah Love, hope you've been well. Jabbar, he is one of your guys.
Yeah, that's Coach. That's a shout out to him. He's the offensive coordinator for the Mount Juliet Bears High School.
Oh, team. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah. How you doing, Coach? Yeah, we know each other too.
Yes.
Let's see. So more to come there. What about Deebo Samuels? We've been seeing that as well. At this point in his career,
I don't know. My only thing about Deebo, in all honesty, is his injury history. I mean, I just, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great player and everything, but his injury history scares the daylights out of me.
Yeah,
I just don't trust him.
and where he is in his career
Yeah.
now, he's a little bit bigger than he was in Frisco, and so yeah, I would probably pass on that as well. Just the simple fact because the way they're building this team is youth, right? Youth,
Yes.
and I'm not saying veterans not, but look at the veterans that they signed. They're still mid-20s, right?
Yes.
Mid to late 20s, and so you can see what they're building here. They're building for the long haul. Bergonzi, he comes from a Kansas City franchise that has been relevant for almost a decade now.
Yeah,
almost.
decade. Yeah, almost a decade.
Yeah,
now.
almost a decade. Yeah.
And Green Bay, that's another franchise that's always competing for the division in the playoffs. And so we got some guys in the front office that know know what that looks like, right? To
Yes.
build your franchise through the draft and free agency, but not taking those major swings, as both of you mentioned, about not spending too much money in free agency, but actually adding those folks that are going to help contribute right away on this team. And yeah, I agree. Eddie Gray, he says Cam, Ayermana, DK, and him can all continue to grow together.
100% agree.
And be those guys. And so,
got a quick question though.
Yeah, go ahead.
It just dawned on me while we've been talking, mentioning Spears and Paulus. We draft Love. What happens with Mullins?
Mullins is going. I think he's going to continue to be They want him to be that short yardage big back because if you look, I mean, and Love probably could do that, but how much wear and tear you want to do on it? I think, and then Mullins special teams. You got to have somebody because again, I don't think Chestnut's back. You got to have one of them to do special teams, and I think out of the four, you would want him to take that role, especially having that linebacker mentality. He used to play linebacker and had that linebacker mentality. So.
And let me say this too. Romeo Doubs signed with the Patriots the other day. Eddie Gray. Yeah. As we look at, and we hadn't talked about this yet, as we were talking about offense, Chig Okonkwo. J. Lou, you called it. If you go back and you look at the show, J. Lou called that they will not be signing Chig back, and they didn't. And so, your thoughts on that? Both of y'all on Chig and the addition of Daniel Bellinger, known for his blocking, but is a good physical stature, has a good physical stature, big guy, can run. Doesn't seem like he was used a whole bunch in the passing game. And so your thoughts on that, gentlemen? Chig going away, adding another blocker. And we all know that the downfall with Chig was his blocking. He just wasn't a good blocker, right? And we saw Gunnar Helm improve his inline blocking, which got him more playing time. And I think they continue to want to build around that. But your thoughts on Chig? Either one of you can start. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'll say this. I hate to see Chig go, no doubt. I mean, he had his best season last year, but I understand the move. Like J. Lou said, they were going to let Chig test the market. They weren't just going to re-sign him right away. So, I mean, I understand that. But I would say with Bellinger, especially, I think Dable likes to run a two tight end set and everything. You got two, I'm going to say, solid blocking tight ends out there who could actually get out in patterns and make catches. I think the underrated thing about Bellinger is the fact that he does have pretty good hands. And so, you're talking about a good possession tight end who can actually get open. And we already know what Gunnar can do. So, the swap out, I'm okay with it. Like I said, I just hated to see Chig go. We won't have that same speed that we had in the position, but with the way Dable, if I go back to the way he ran Buffalo, the tight end was more possession than anything as opposed to trying to get down the field.
Yeah, Dion. So Chig has signed with the Commanders. Not only Chig, but Van Jefferson.
And Traylon Burks.
And Traylon Burks. So there you go. Go ahead, Jay Lou. Sorry for cutting you off.
No worries. I'm Daniel Bellinger is getting $8 million AAV annual salary. When I saw that come across, that was the key that Chig was gone. You're going to run. You're probably going to see a lot more 12 personnel than we saw last year, which is two tight ends on the field. And I agree, Bellinger was probably buried on that Giants depth chart. Again, you bring somebody in that knows the offense, and what can he do? He can help teach your tight end number one what to do. So you'll see him. You saw him, and that what you have to look at too. You got two tight ends who can catch the ball. Bellinger, if I'm not mistaken, had like an 80% catch radius or whatever catch rate, which is phenomenal.
He got yak yards
yes. So him, and then we saw with him, he barely missed passes when you threw him his way. So I think that these two tight ends will fit this offensive system where Chig is more of. I'm curious to see Chig. I really wish he would have been in with the Commanders team from last year with that OC. Because I'm curious to see how he would have used him, but I think you'll see him line up a little bit more as a wide receiver, kind of in the slot and take advantage of him that way. Because again, in line, and yes, he improved on blocking, but we know he was a weak link with that. But yeah, I think the guys you got now, bigger bodies, they can block, and again, everything they're doing signals towards improving that run game to help your quarterback.
I just, and Eddie Gray said he agreed with me earlier. He said it. I called it, man. I just don't see it going any other way unless they're holding the cards really tight to their chest. I just don't see it. I just don't see any kind. I don't. It just
the only wild card is if he's not there. Because you got three, you got two teams in front of you. We can't count the Raiders because they're going quarterback. But then you got the Cardinals and the Jets. But you would assume the Jets are going defense because they giving my guy Breece Hall, they giving him a big contract.
The Cardinals went running back in free agency too.
That's the wild card trade.
They got three.
Spot. That's the wild card trade spot. Yeah, I'm not saying the Cardinals would get him, but I think the Cardinals are the wild card trade spot where the Giants would be the sneaky team, which would be crazy because they got Scatterboo. But you got to think who's their head coach now. He's built on having a two-headed monster running the ball from Baltimore. And he got lucky when he got a big hen over there as well. So that would be the wild card spot if somebody jumped you from three. But if he's there on the board, you take it.
Yeah, absolutely. And with what they did, when you look at it in free agency, especially on the offensive side of the ball, it's leaning towards definitely taking a running back if at all possible. If he's there at 4, I don't see them trading that. I see them taking Jeremiah Love.
Let's see. Virgil asks, is there any news on Femi's development? They won't say anything right now because they're not in the building. But hey, we hope because we all heard he was gushing, glazing is what they say now, over Femi, right? Salah was. And so, I mean, if he pans out to be something great, I mean, that's bonus for us.
Would you like to know who his mentor is?
Who? Femi's?
Yeah.
Who?
The Freak.
I kind of figured he was gonna say that.
Femi's about all ball, and we saw him hanging out with the Freak at the thing Thursday, and then they've been hanging out a lot behind the scenes, and he's been picking his brain, and Javon's been working with him. If I want anybody working with any of my DNs, it's the best that we've had in Titans history.
Who else would help? A guy that transformed from an outside back in college to an end in NFL and turned out to be one of the best. So set the rookie record for sacks in the season.
Yes. This still stands. This still stands.
And so before we get off offense, we got to talk about this, guys. We got to talk about this. And I know G-Wit, he had his thoughts. So I'm going to kick it over to him. Mitch Trubisky as your number 2 right now. We hadn't talked about that. Some people say, Mitch, he was that guy that got drafted ahead of Pat Mahomes. And that whole draft and drafted, and we took Corey Davis that year and all that stuff. So
crazy draft.
G-Wit, Mitch Trubisky is now your backup quarterback. How do you feel, sir?
Well, look. In all honesty, Mr. Trubisky he's been a backup ever since he left Chicago. I really have no problem with that. And like you guys said when we got him, and I texted my comments and everything, he is a step up from what we had, without a doubt.
I would say so. Yes, without a doubt.
He is a step up from what we had. So. I would say, and he played fairly decent in his time when he was with Buffalo and everything, so he knows Daboll's system. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plans out. But I think if Cam stays healthy like he did this past year, he's going to be holding the clipboard the whole time.
Yeah, and for those of you who are on here tonight that don't have an update on Cam Wharton, we've seen video of him throwing the football. So he is back
Yes.
throwing.
Yeah.
And the footwork, I don't know if y'all saw the footwork. The footwork looked like he was even better already.
Yes.
And
Looked like he improved.
so yeah. And so as Dion says, after Brian Allen, Sir Mitch is a major upgrade. Oh yeah, man.
Yes.
Hey, there's no argument there, sir. Good
At
good.
all.
Yeah.
Right. Eddie Gray said he's more confident in Mitch as well. Jay Lee, you got any comments on Mitch Trubisky as number 2?
I like it. Again, somebody's familiar with the system. He had Dayball when Dayball was the OC in Buffalo. And again, this is a better veteran presence than Brandon Allen. And yeah, Brandon Allen was a veteran presence, but what was he really doing in the league? I mean, you got somebody, you said it, he's had some turmoil through the league. He's not a career backup like Brandon Allen was. Mr. Trubisky was drafted to be somebody's number 1 quarterback when he was in Chicago. So he's had his ups and downs and been able to see it. And, just having, the relationship he's had the last 2 years, I believe he's been with Josh Allen, the MVP, and kind of being his partner. So that's nothing but good things that can come from Cam, especially, again, somebody that knows the system. And if he gets in the pit, if by some miracle he has to come in, I don't think it's going to look anything like we saw in Jacksonville when Allen got in the game. From that standpoint. So, this was a position of need that you needed to upgrade. And again, I know it's not the sexy name, but it's a good upgrade. And it's somebody that you like. Hey, if he's got to come in a pinch and give us a game or two, I'm confident in it. So
yeah, because he already knows the system, right?
Yeah,
he's had that number 1 quarterback position before. Like you said, he's been sitting behind Josh Allen. So I'm not worried at all like I was. So let's go ahead and throw this out there. We all knew last season when we saw Brandon Allen in training camp that if he had to play, we were in trouble.
It was in trouble.
We all knew that. So there wasn't it wasn't no issue. So this is a great upgrade. And nothing against him, man. Shout out to him. But he just didn't have it. Right. He just didn't have it. And before we flop over and talk about defense real quick, I will say this as well. The shots by Chig were just ugly.
They were.
Finally getting to run some real routes. I mean, that was that's crazy.
Real quick.
Yeah. Kwanye, we haven't got the new jerseys yet, but J. Lou was saying he's looking to get the white one. They hadn't came out yet.
The white one, I only got the white one with the players. I always get mine with just my name.
We always
white ones. Yeah, so that one ain't available yet.
Because they changed them so much. I just got a Cam Ward last year. Hey man, what are y'all doing? No, but anyway. And let's see who else. And so as we go into the defense, Eddie Gray asked about James Williams. Are they moving him to DN as well? I hadn't heard that. Have y'all heard that?
That was something that was done with the last coaching staff at the end. So
I remember now.
From everything that I've heard so far, Eddie, it looks like it's they getting it back to linebacker, especially going to more of a 4-3 base with the big nickel. So probably having him at linebacker a little bit more.
That's right. That was from last season. And you're correct. I remember that now. It was another question. Oh, here we go. So Max Crosby, somebody asked about that. Let's look at the free agent signings on defense first, and we'll come back to Max Crosby. So John Franklin Myers, Jay Luke calls him a baby Jeff because I mean if you look at him side by side uniform, it probably take you a second to kind of glance. If you just glance and be like, which one is which, right? Mm-hmm. And so the defensive side of the ball, guys. Let's start with the secondary because I think that was probably the biggest need, and we saw it. And somebody was asking if we should have kept Snead, or they thought that somebody might have said that they thought we should have kept Snead. Your thoughts on the secondary now, and whether or not Snead needed to stay? G-Wit, go ahead. Throw your
well, on the second part of your question, no, Snead.
Easy answer. That.
Yeah, a little bit of easy answer. But I would say this: the 2 cornerbacks that they brought in, I think, are a marked improvement. Again, it's about and here's the thing about it, they always talking about, it's a total package. And for me, I think that, and I have to put it like this, I think that what they brought in on defensive line, the cornerback position is going to be a lot I hate to use the word easier, but I think it would be more compatible with what we got right now as far as coverage is concerned. Because the last time we had a defensive line, now granted this is on paper, but we had a defensive line that we're possibly looking at. was really back in 2008, and that's when somebody who wore number 33 had a Pro Bowl year with interceptions and everything. So I'm interested to see how all of this is going to pan out. But hey, look, I think the two cornerbacks they got it good, and plus what we already have. You still got Marcus Harris, who I thought was improving last year, and I just think we're going to have a pretty good overall defense. And bottom line is, we got solid as a DC, man. I'm just gonna put that out there. And like I ran into Thursday night. I ran into Nick Suss for the Tennessean, and I just had to flat out tell him. I said, "Look, I tell you the same thing I've been telling everybody since he signed. I said the one thing I'm not worried about in 26 is the defense. We've seen this guy coach no names and had him all the way to the playoffs, shutting people down and everything. So I'm not overly worried about the defense this year. I'm actually quite cautiously optimistic and anxious to see how it's all going to turn out. But I think the two DBs they signed, I thought those were great signings.
J. Lou, Alontae Taylor's a physical corner. A lot was said about Cordell Flott and his size, his arm length. Of course, the arm length thing is really being blown out because of Bain, and now you talk about Flott.
Yeah.
But these guys are some pretty good corners, man. You go back and you look at the tape from them last season. We saw Alontae Taylor here, although he got beat by Mason Kinsey. It's because Cam made a great throw. He made a great throw. That's the bottom line. But I like the physical attributes that he brings to the table. Big corner, Sailor. We can say anything, he likes long, big players.
Big corner,
and especially on the edge in the corner room. But J. Lou, your thoughts, man, on what they've done in the secondary. And I'm gonna throw this out there before you go, and I know you're gonna mention it. Could we see Amani Hooker go to the bench for Tony Adams? But go ahead.
I'll touch on that one. The DB, the cornerback, you got two dogs, and if you go back and listen to Robert Saleh's press conference, he said it's gonna be a team that who you playing coming off the bus. We're gonna hit people. We're gonna be fast and violent. Was his fast and violent, and we're gonna talk a lot of stuff. This defense. I told G Witt the other night. I'm hoping we get a lot more training camp opportunities since they got 2 preseason games. Because I want to go out there because the amount of trash talk from the defensive side of the ball, it's going to be top notch when you look at the players that's on that side, and you got somebody that's trash talking at every single level. But I again, you got some guys out there that you talk about him getting beat by Mason Kinsey. He also had a good breakup in the end zone in that game as well. So he did. Easily top one of the top DBs on the market. And Flott has the opportunity to play the slot, the inside and outside. I'm curious. I can't wait to see them get their hands on Marcus Harris because y'all know how much I feel about him, and I think he just can be a baller. To answer your second part of your question, I think Amani's on a short leash from play. I think he's on a short leash. Now, I like Amani, and I think that you see him revert back to that Pro Bowl Amani with the folks that are as DBs. As long as that room stays healthy, we have to put that out there. And I don't have to see Jalen Armour Davis back on the field in Titan blue. And as long as we don't have to do that, I think Amani Hooker can revert back because I'm going to give last season a pass similar to Kevin Byard when he had that one-off year when he just had everything around him was terrible. So I'm hoping that I can't wait to see Kevin Winston get healthy and get back on there for all 17. So that I think what they did at cornerback, and again, what I like about them addressing corner, and again, I gotta give this to Bergonzi because and we'll get to. I know we're gonna get to the comment here about the plan, but what I see about that is cornerback. We all knew. We didn't know what his plan was or what he even had in mind when we saw him trade Roger McQuarrie and my other guy. The other guy. His name I can't remember. Brownlee. Brownlee. When we saw him trade him, and we was like, "What are we doing?" And then they went after Armour Davis, who everybody wanted, and we see why he was released. didn't know what the plan was. That probably was your biggest need outside of receiver going into the offseason.
Yeah.
And they addressed it in free agency to where you still can get you, because I think if in that 5th, 6th round, there are some Pro Bowl caliber DBs that you can draft and not have to throw them in day one and can let them draft and develop. So really like what they did is bringing in those DBs.
So think about it this way. And go back to his time in KC. We're going to get some more comments, man. Got some good questions in there. He knows how to draft DBs. Outside of Trent McDuffie, Snead was a late round draft pick.
Yes.
Yep.
Josh Williams was a late round draft. If he was out, he might have been a free agent, undrafted free agent. But the guys that they brought in since Snead left, they hadn't missed a beat there.
They ain't missed a beat.
so I'm gonna say he's got a good sense of talent.
Yes.
Along with the
especially to your point in that late round, getting corners in the late round.
And you remember the one thing about Flott that they kept bringing out was that he had like what 47.9
completion rate.
Completion rate, 4th lowest in the league.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that says a lot.
He was a guy that the Giants, the new regime of the Giants, wanted to bring back.
They
wanted to keep him.
Yeah. See, Eddie Gray says the only thing against Alontae that he's a noob. That's funny. Bayer signed with the Patriots, man. Bayer signed with the Patriots, and he went back to Vrabel. All right, so Billy Pittman is a guy that I know really well, and so it's not surprising that he puts a whole sentence or two in his question. So appreciate you, man. Shout out to you, man. I'm just kidding with you. He said, after looking at the Titans free agency moves, what do we think their true plan is for the next 2 years? Rebuild or compete, and which signing best reveals the strategy? If you look at the signings, they're planning on competing in 26.
Absolutely.
Now, and I said this before, Billy, I don't know, and Billy was gone. He was deployed, so I don't know if he caught the show or not. He probably didn't. But what we said on the previous shows, and me in particular, is 26. If they could get the free agents that they targeted, which I think they did, if they can hit on another draft class, 26 is competing for the division.
Yeah.
27 is when you're talking about now you making a run in the playoffs. And so, 26, you get the division, you go to the playoffs. But 27, in my opinion, and I'll let you guys speak on yours, 27 is the year you say, all right, now we coming out busting heads, and we might knock some people off and have a chance to make it to the AFC Championship game in 27. But anyway, your thoughts, J. Lou. I'll hit you first this time.
So I'll knock it down just one step. I think 26 is a wild card. And 27 is, hey, we here now. Because I think, and the only reason I say that is because you have no continuity. If you had the same staff, you would like that. But you got Cam that's starting over. That, to me, is going to be the wild card. We all know, and anybody watch football knows defense takes off first anyway. So, again, with your head coach being your DC, and actually having a good DC with him who knows what he likes and can kind of help him out while he's being head coach in Gus Bradley. I think that's what you see as far as to answer your question, Billy, to see the team. You want to see them continue to surround Cam Ward with everything to make him successful. And the best way you can make your rookie quarterback successful is by having a stellar defense, because you just don't have the weapons yet. Right. And again, in a perfect world, and I think it was Eddie Gray that mentioned it earlier, you'd like to see that core that you drafted last year develop together. But in a perfect world, we still all can agree you need that dog number one receiver, that you need a Jackson Smith and Jigba number one receiver. And again, I think the running game's solid. Offensive line still has some questions. You have the centers up for question, right guard, which I think you still see Zeitler sign later on. I really hope they bring Zeitler back. But center's a question mark. Left guard set, I would assume you would see an extension here soon for Peter, so that's a core piece. Right tackle, you would hope JC is healthy and takes the next step where he can be. In a perfect world, you want him to be on his second contract, going to his second contract next year, similar to how we're talking Peter. And then if Jackson Slater actually develops, then you got a young nucleus there. So I think 26 is a reset to get the nasty taste of 6 and 28 out of your mouth over the past 2 years. And let's just be honest, it's the NFL. You got a last place schedule. Theoretically, you would think the last place schedule this year should be last place.
Patriots.
Right. We'll see. But if you can get, you can sneak up on anybody, because I think your defense, me and G Witt was talking about this the other night. On paper, right now, well, some of the moves they made is particularly with your front seven and front four and the coach that you have, your defense can keep you in 17 to 10 games. And you can sneak up on anybody in those type of games. Yeah. So I think that's what you see in 26 is them set the groundwork and lay the foundation to be able to say, hey, we're not just going to roll over and be a 3-win football team. Yep. We here to punch you in the mouth and win some games.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna be a little bit more extreme. Like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic about our defense because I know health plays a big part of that.
Right.
But the fact that we have Saleh as a DC and he's going to be calling the defense during the games, I think speaks volume, because that's what he loves to do. And like I said before, he's a good defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
I want to say great, but he proved a lot to me last year with all the injuries that they had and making something out of that defense. On the offensive side of the ball, I will say this. A lot of it, I think, is going to depend on the running game. If they drafted Jeremiah Love, I would say here's the one reason why I say we could probably go further than simply just a wild card. The defenses Cam had to face as a rookie in 2025, he played against those defense and actually played fairly decently. And as you saw before the injury against Jacksonville, in that month of December, he was flat out balling in all those games. And he was going to get some stellar defenses. So my whole thing about him is that I think Dable is getting his wish, because remember, he was trying to trade for Cam last year. And I think he's getting his wish. And I think Cam is recovering and throwing. I think what we're going to see is the benefit of the fact that he played against all those tough defenses. We were supposedly have a last place schedule last year, and ended up playing the toughest schedule in the league. And you saw Cam seriously compete in all those games. He had his rough moments, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but you saw him compete in all those games. And the thing that I like about Cam last year, more than anything else, you never saw him get rattled.
Right.
Not see him get rattled.
And the only time he got upset was on a bad play calling.
Or not going for it on fourth down.
Yeah, not going for it on fourth down.
So, my whole thing with him is that, he made it through last year with all the weaknesses that we had on that offense. And with the improvements we're trying to make, I will say this, if we get a solid running game and we improve that offensive line as far as pass pro is concerned, I think we can go a little bit further than just simply winning the division and making a wild card round.
The truth is, the offensive line wasn't really that bad last year after they made a few little tweaks.
That's true.
After Dally Callahan got booted out.
But to your point, G Witt, I agree. Still got to make progress there, because that's been one of the biggest thorns in the side of this team. It's almost like the kicker issue. Can't get a kicker, can't get an awesome line that can save your life. Eddie Gray, you make some good points. He says he thinks the wild card season, Jacksonville messed up by letting ETN go. Achane, that's what he said. That's how people pronounce his name wrong. Stroud is cooked mentally. Stroud is struggling as well. Deion said, look, let's keep this right here. Deion said, mark it down. If we get Love in the first round, Caleb Downs in the second round, competing for the Super Bowl in 26. He's calling now. So if it comes true that we get Caleb Downs some kind of way, Deion, we got you.
I was going to say, if Caleb Downs is still there in the second round, then you run to the podium.
It's no hesitation. You don't even have no time elapse on your pick. We only had a last place schedule and name on that. I agree with you, Eddie Gray. So Kwanya, here we go. He says, what other running backs in the draft could the Titans pick up later? And so here we go. Mr. Graham, Mike Washington Jr. From Arkansas.
Yes.
Big running back. Ran a 4.4, 4.33, matter of fact. Jadarian Price, the backup to Love. He's another good one. Le'Veon Moss from Texas A&M. He's another big running back that can catch out of the backfield. Adam Randall for Clemson. So there are several. Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. There are several that are out there. Nicholas Singleton at Penn State. There's several that if you decide to go later, you don't have to give up any draft capital to get up. And again, to me, this is probably one of the better running back draft classes that we've had in a while and had that kind of talent. And so I think there's many options. If they want to go edge or if they want to go whatever the first pick will be, if they want to go receiver, again, just like G. Witt said about receivers, I think you can still get a quality running back in the later rounds that can do the thing you want to do in your offense. So Katron Allen, Penn State is pretty solid. You're right, Deion. Forgot about him. Appreciate that. So, guys, there was a question in the chat for the show. Appreciate y'all, man, tonight. Bring your questions and comments. Max Crosby, J. Lou. They said, should we trade for Max Crosby? I'm going to say no. I don't want to give up the draft capital.
I don't either. Now, if they come down off their price, I'm not giving next year's one. I'm not giving next year's one.
Only because you can get Jeremiah Smith, possibly.
Right, exactly. So I'm not giving next year's one. But this year's one, if you want a number 4 and maybe a third, hey, I might have talked to you then. But I'm not giving you a next year's capital because he would be a game changer.
I wouldn't. I'm not going to talk about 27, but I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some Willing and Dillon to get moved up higher.
Yes. Yes.
So, don't be surprised if we use the 28-1 in next year's draft.
Right.
Yeah, not 2 first.
Yeah, not for 2 first. Not for 2 first with that knee injury. Right. And that's legit. And again, he is a record game changer. You put him on with this D line. It's good luck.
It's on.
Do we really think we take Jeremiah Love with the 4th pick? Billy, I can't say no wholeheartedly. I can't. I'm 50-50 because of what they've done in the free agency. And it's just, again, J. Lou said it. It happened. What happens at number 2 is what we're going to tell the tale. If somebody trades up with the Cardinals, because the Cardinals, again, they've got 3 running backs on the depth chart. They re-signed James Conner. They picked up I forgot who the other running back they signed in free agency, but they've got 3 on the depth chart. And so it'd be hard for me to say that they stick and pick. So, you talk about the Giants, you talk about possibly Kansas City with the 2 first rounders they got. I mean, even though they signed K9.
Even they signed him, but they still 2-headed monsters.
Yeah.
If y'all ask me today on March 15th, I still think the pick is Sonny Styles.
I don't like you sometimes. I really don't.
I would be like this. I would be slightly disappointed, but I won't be hurt if it's Sonny Styles.
I really don't like you sometimes because that makes a lot of sense. Fred Warner.
Yep.
Who ran Sailor's defense for him?
Fred Warner.
That's how else do you? Again, everybody when you hear help Cam out, you automatically go to weapons. Before you go to weapons, let's help him out with a defense is giving him the ball 3 extra times in a game. Eddie Gray, I'm telling you, Eddie, when he come out, if the Titans somehow, if they stick and pick, I truly think it's Love. Although I think they're torn. If by some miracle they trade within that 7 to 8 range, it's Sonny Styles.
Hey, that's what you love about it, the discussions you can have and all the possible scenarios. But we don't know until the end of April. Still got a month to go.
Oh, yes.
The month is a week, man. Thank y'all for joining us tonight for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Eddie out there, G with J. Lou. Oh no, he balled out.
No, he balled out.
He balled out for sure.
But and I'm to your point, Eddie. I'm curious to see him with. And again, this is no knock on Denard Wilson because we saw what he did with this team he had, and even the linebacker he coached, he had a good linebacking coach. I'm curious to see what I think we all can agree that Saleh is a step up from the DC we had. I'm curious to see him with his hands on Cedric Gray because I think had Cedric Gray not got hurt, he breaks the tackle record. He'll miss that game or 2. So he's going to be phenomenal.
you get James Williams,
Yes.
right, with Salah. The key there is Cody Barton.
That's what I was going to say. Sonny Styles, if you go Sonny Styles, you don't have Cody Barton because your two middles in this 4-3 would be Gray and Sonny Styles.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man, because I just don't think we have Cody Barton on the 2016. I just don't. I don't see him on the field next year.
I don't either.
And so, but again, that's a lot to happen in the next, 6 weeks or whatever it is to go before the draft gets here. But man, we appreciate all the comments and the questions, man. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. Check us out next time. Of course, we'll be back. We'll be talking more as things happen, as we get closer to the draft. We'll definitely talk about the draft class when that happens. One thing I do like for sure, gentlemen, is that we've got somebody on the defensive line that can win other than Jeff.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
And we've all been wanting that for a while. And we're going to possibly get. There's potential we get. I'm not going to say it's going to happen. Anything can happen. But right now, as it stands on paper and film, we got another 98, which curious what number he's going to take, that can win on the inside and the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a Jermaine Johnson that can win on the outside too. I'm just saying. And if you get a Femi to come out and
just
he's being mentored by the freak,
because he was coming on good before he went down with the injury.
Yep.
And I go back to something Eddie Gray said about the division. So let's look at it. Daniel Jones is coming off an Achilles and a broken leg.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to be ready? Yeah, Sunshine played well. Liam Cohen, everybody talks about him and Say probably going to get in a fist fight before and after the game, right? Because they got some bad blood with each other. So he going to be up for that game.
Mm-hmm.
CJ Stroud, influx, protection. He's got some PTSD. What are they going to do?
They're redoing their offensive line again.
We saw that. Yes.
Again.
And so there's still some things that are up for grabs. I'm not saying 100% in, but man, the division is shaping up to where it could be very interesting come December of this year. And that's why Bane is still a possibility. You're right. Get it great. Man, thank y'all again for joining us, man. Check us out next time. Be looking out for that. I know we didn't put out the information this time. Sorry about that. But hey, got your notifications on. I know probably you got to hit up and say, hey, we're live. So make sure you got those turned on for those that are on YouTube. Facebook, we'll try to get something out there. Dion is our go-to on Facebook. So as long as Dion gets it, man, you make sure everybody else get it, man. So again, thank y'all for joining us. Check us out next time, man. We'll be back with another live episode of Halftime Adjustments. We out here, man. Peace.
Peace.